I always forget about that tortoise, and then for some reason that tortoise always makes me happy, man. That tortoise was living his best life, just cruising on Anna Marie Island.
That's how I want to be.
That's
how
right.
I want to be, just no care, just strolling,
Yeah, hunker down.
What's up? What's happening? Look, we got a good crew already. That's nice.
So I'm in Minnesota in a t-shirt, and you're in Florida in a flannel shirt. This is very odd, sir. Very odd.
Well, it's funny. We had an AC problem this past week, and
which makes it even crazier that you're wearing flannel. Continue. I'm sorry.
But then we got it fixed, and it seems to be kicking out, especially in this room. It seems to be kicking out some cold air.
Oh, okay. So you got the recharge. It's like it's turbo right now. Okay.
Yeah, it's all right. Turbo, and that's how I roll too.
It's your middle name, right?
It's Joe Turbo Arner. That's
JTA. That's what I've always known you as, man.
Hey, what is happening?
Yeah.
So I'm Joe Turbo Arner. I don't have any reptiles, and this is Adam, and he does. And I got a lot of questions. That's what the show is all about. You know what I'm saying?
It is. Yeah, you get one guy that goes insane and decides to start a reptile career. And then his buddies have questions.
But who's really insane in this scenario? Really? I mean, you have found a passion and you have stuck to it and you love it. Me, I'm out there floating around. I don't know what I'm doing,
Well, I saw. Okay, so we should say to the audience too. It's open line Thursday, which means we didn't prep anything. We're just flying. This is it. We prepped something. I got a little something if we need to get to it, which we
got some things in our back pocket here, but
today is driven completely by your questions, your input in the chat, and we will address it. So we got the first question. Good morning, everyone. Adam, are you coming to Daytona? Justin asks. Justin, I think the odds are low. I will say it's a possibility, but I don't think so.
When is Daytona?
August-ish. Not August-ish. It's absolutely August. Somebody will know. There's two things. One is just getting down there and getting back, leaving my animals in the operation. I would have to hand off to somebody, and I'm not quite ready to hand the keys over when I'm not in town. The other thing is I think I have a local show that same weekend, which I would rather go to Daytona, but pay bills, all that, it's a little tougher. You know what I mean? So I don't think so.
It's Daytona.
I know. That's the thing. And it as much as I love Tinley, the Daytona setup with the hotel right on the beach, you don't have to drive anywhere. It's all self-contained. Everybody's there.
What I say in reaction to that, you know what I say? Forget about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let us know when you go to your first ever reptile show, Joe. And then actually you did. Yeah, you went to Daytona one time.
I went to Daytona. That's
true.
I think that's my only reptile show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're gonna go to one, that is the one.
I went to one in Dade City, but I don't know if that was a reptile show really. It was yeah. I don't think it was. It was like a festival, and then there was a tent filled with reptiles.
Oh, that's weird. No, that's just a exhibition. We don't deal in tents. We're not some barnstorming crew of people here. We are an upstanding, organized industry. Okay?
But see, these are the questions that we need to figure out. Is that a part of this industry or not? I don't know. I didn't know. And now I do. No, that's an outlier.
Well, it's an outlier, and I don't mean to shame anybody. Actually, there's a lot of cool like outreach stuff, like at the local Renaissance Fair, which is apparently massive. It's like 6 or 8 weeks long here in Minnesota. But the local herpetological society, they present there, and it's actually incredibly legitimate. A lot of the people at the Herp Society work for the DNR, which is the Department of Natural Resources. And the DNR is actually who has jurisdiction over reptiles in Minnesota. So it's a really like collaborative thing. People in Florida would laugh if I said, well, could you imagine FWC presenting booths at the local, rock and roll festivals and Repticons?
It was definitely not FWC. It was I took the kids there. They were very young, and we went in and we sat, and there was a presentation of reptiles.
Yeah, see, and that's cool. That actually I shouldn't have I shouldn't have blown that off because yeah, that's like the education outreach. Hey,
right.
come hold a snake.
It was actually very informative, and it was very like, these are not dangerous animals, like type of thing. So
right.
I thought it was very good.
These are not.
So what are you doing? Why are you like talking about this, about your fellow snake handlers?
Because I thought you were saying they were like selling. Like I thought it was like pop a balloon, get a goldfish in a little glass jar, like carnival folk. That's
that's probably I presented it that way. I apologize. No, it was actually very educational. It was good.
Okay,
I wish I could remember what it was, because that is something that would be something. That's what we talk about here. It's like educational. It's like reducing the stigma around owning.
It's not the
reptiles.
It's not the serpentine embodiment of
yeah.
It
was definitely not like, ooh, look at this scary snake. It was like, these are nice creatures.
Yeah. Well, Joe, what's your one thing from this week, man?
Well, I'm trying to decide. Well, you talked about Brian Wilson last week, right?
That's true. I did. Yeah.
You did. Well, there was another person who died just a couple of days before that, Sly Stone.
Yeah.
Sly, and for a couple of years, he was like the biggest thing. He was, and just hit after hit, and so many good songs.
Yeah.
My one thing. What's up? Go.
Well, I was going to say too, what people don't realize, like you would think of Sly and the Family Stone and We Are Family and that stuff, but he was a massive songwriter and producer with other people. And you probably are going to get to some of it, but if you look at his songwriting, if you get to some of his songwriting credits, it's unreal what we're like, all the pots that his hands were in, kind of deal.
It was it's kind of, and then he kind of fell off, and he didn't, like, he kind of got out of the business, and I think there was some kind of, it was kind of a similar track, although he didn't I think he had drug issues, mental illness, and things like that. I don't know. There's a documentary I haven't watched about it, and I'm not going to get into all of that stuff. What I am going to get into is well, one of my favorite songs of all time is "Dance to the Music." Dance to the Music is incredible. It's so fun. It's such a great song.
Right.
And I used to listen to it when I was a kid, and there was something about how fun that song was when I was a kid. And then I was listening to it with my mom one time, and she said, "Oh, this is Sly Stone." I didn't even know the name of I was so young, I didn't even care about the names of artists or whatever.
Right.
And she said, "This is Sly Stone, Sly and the Family Stone." And I said, "Oh, yeah." And she said, "I met him once." And I said, "Oh, really? You met the guy?" Who said, "Yeah." And she said, "Yeah, he asked me out on a date."
Oh, wait, is Sly your dad?
So there was always this running joke in my family about Sly Stone. like that kind of joke, like being my dad or something.
Yeah. No, that's pretty funny.
So there was, you did a nice little like musical tribute to Brian Wilson last week. I'm not doing that. I just go, there were great songs. I love his songs. And then there's this weird connection. But the story is like, she ended up at a party. My mom, it's so funny. She's just such a sweet lady.
Yeah.
And she's always been a really sweet lady. And then you hear about like she lived in Long Island. She worked in New York City. And she worked in New York City. She was born in 1950. And when she was in the city, it was like she was going into the city to work and it was maybe 3 years or so she was going into the city, and it was 69, 70, 71, 72.
Yeah.
So like very, very crazy city, New York City lifestyle kind of stuff. Lots of like stuff going down, at that time.
Massive cars.
Yes.
No cars were small then. Yeah.
But like super great music at the time.
Right.
And so she would be like, yeah. And then I went to a party and I met Sly Stone and he asked me out on a date. And I was like, I don't know. So she turned him down.
Well, good for her. I mean, that's how you do it. You got to play hard to get,
it's just funny. It's funny, those chance encounters that you have.
Exactly.
With people. And I don't know at what stage she met him, if it was before his fame or at when he was becoming famous or whatever. It's funny you have those, like one time somebody reached out to me on Facebook when I was living in Philadelphia. And he was like, hey, it was like that weird time on Facebook. It was like maybe 2008 where people were like, oh, I found your profile. What do you think? Maybe I like what you put on there or whatever. And so he reached out to me. I didn't I thought, oh, this is weird. And he was like, let's go get a cup of coffee or whatever. I had put some things on my face and I didn't know him. So
yeah.
And then it turns out years and years later, I'm like, I turned him down too. And years later, I keep seeing this name and I'm like, where's that name from? I don't know where that name is from. And then I realized, is that the guy who contacted me when I was living in Philadelphia? And he's like a big time podcaster right now.
Oh, wow.
And, I don't know. Maybe I'll call him up and say, hey, can you give a shout out to our, I don't know. I think he's more of a political podcaster right now.
Go all the way back to the original message and be like, sure, sounds good. How's next Thursday? 17 years later.
I should do that.
That would be great. And it would make his podcast. It's all there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it is really funny because they'll be like, how time goes by, but I'll see something that like somebody from high school posted and I'll be like, we were in the jazz band or something together. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that show. And it'll show like a message from like 12 years ago, the last time I had ever spoke to them. I'm like, oh, well, okay, that's there. Right. I hope your next decade in 2 years is wonderful. I'll check in then as well.
Yeah, I think his name is Lex Friedman. Has anybody heard of her? Yeah, he's got like a podcast. He talks to everybody that you see in the news. He talks.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. Yeah, that's weird.
I bet you could, if you did say, yeah, let's get coffee, I bet he'd mention it on his show. And then, you'd be like this, you'd be this thing. Your color just like totally flipped. You went from like,
yeah, I noticed that.
You're like electric white there. So I'm going to switch up my one thing because it's just such a hilarious story and it brought back some happy memories. We have these birds in Minnesota that people have probably heard of, but they're called pheasants. And I never actually seen a pheasant in person, and they're a really like intriguing bird. If you've never seen one, they're kind of breathtaking. They're beautiful. Their feathers, they're this bright orange and black, and they're big. They're bigger than I expected a pheasant to be.
And we are getting to that age where all of a sudden,
that's true. All we do is bird watch and
like birds.
well, this is a little bit different. So, and you have to realize I hadn't thought of this story in quite some time. So,
okay.
So I'm driving and I'll be like, I'll be damned. I think that's a pheasant. And it brought back this memory. So I had to tell that part of the story. Now we'll do a little Tarantino. I'll go way back to when I was like 11. And when I was growing up, I like to watch like the PBS, like the outdoor shows. There was like nature. There was like Marty Stouffer's Wild America. But I like they had these shows where, which sounds crazy these days, but like literally you would just watch these dudes like fish, or you would just watch them hunt. I think like Bill Dance, there was like this guy from always had the Tennessee hat on. And I also read a lot of books, and I had heard the word, I can't even say it with a straight face. I'd heard the word pheasant and I'd heard the word peasant, and I thought that they were one and the same, and that they were just pronounced, a choice of how people were pronouncing them. Is it a PH or is it a P? And so my grandfather comes in and he's like, "Oh, good morning. What are you watching?" And I was like, "Oh, they're hunting peasants." And like my grandfather looks at me and he says, "Excuse me?" And I said, "They're hunting peasants, and they're peasant hunting or whatever." And he never explained it, was the thing. He was like, "Pheasants." And I was like, tomato, and he was like,
"Say pheasant?" I say pheasant.
Yeah. And he was like, "No, it's pheasants." And like me being like an 11 or 12-year-old, you've gotten the fatherly experience of having a teenager when they're just like, "Okay, whatever, fine, it's pheasants." And he goes on. And that's the end of the conversation. I hadn't thought of that in years, and I see this bird, and I'm like, "This is a pheasant." And I was like, "Oh, now I know what peasants are too." And now I know why Gramps was so like annoyed and frustrated. He never explained to me that peasants are people.
It's a big difference.
It's a very big difference. We're not out shooting the poor people on PBS this morning or hunting them. So I got to relive. Yeah, I got to relive that memory, and it was particularly special because I have. I think the word that people use is complicated, but I have a very complicated memory and perception and what I think of my grandfather. So it's nice to have like a funny, nice, kind of beautiful, innocent moment, and a fun story to tell. It was great. So anyway, that was my fun one thing.
Because it's good. Go for it.
Oh, whoops.
Bill Dance.
Yeah, well, hang on 1 second. So Supreme Gecko, that's Wally. And yeah, so I'm not going to pick apart the whole Beach Boys tribute, but I agree. And if you guys want to just see like there was a ton of just raw talent, but just like stage presence, voice, confidence. Beck doing the Sloop John B was phenomenal. And I'm sure you can find that on YouTube now. So anyway, Beck sang Sloop John B, which is probably my favorite Beatles song.
Beck is one of my favorite artists of all time. I listen to every album. I think all of his albums are fantastic. I've seen him twice in concert. One when it was real small at the Trocadero in Philadelphia. One at the amphitheater down here in Tampa. Both, he knows how to play big. He knows how to play small. He's fantastic. I just love him.
I have to admit, I only know like his hits kind of deal. Yeah. My brother-in-law is absolute nut for Beck, and my brother-in-law plays music. I've toured with him. He's got a
that makes a lot of sense.
Steve, Steve, we crashed at your place when you put us up when we were on tour. Sounds so official, you got to see how it really is, which is two dudes in a Subaru zipping around in Florida.
What is this? Why is this? I'm such a loser baby. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a nod to literally. Come on, I even got the inside joke. Oh, Wally's way too nice to actually offend anybody, man. Wally's great, man. Anyway, it's worth checking out if you guys get to see it.
Yeah, do it. Wait, so peasant, grandfather, Father's Day.
Oh yeah.
Did you do anything for Father's Day?
Yeah, we.
By the way, everybody, ask us any questions you want. This is like kind of a free for all day for us. Join the conversation. You can say whatever you want. We'll highlight it. This is your show. This is our show. So let's do it. Father's Day. What'd you do?
Well, we went. Kelly's. Sorry. So a whole lot of context. Kelly's parents, like mine, were divorced, and then they both remarried. My mother remarried. So we got parents and in-laws all over the place, man. They're everywhere, man. So Kelly's dad and stepmom live about an hour and a half from us. And actually, to everybody's credit, they're all very healthy with it. Like, it's almost even more complicated when everybody like interacts and hangs out a little bit. Like, I can't keep straight what family's actually what, which is actually really beautiful. But when it took me a long time to figure out who was who, because everybody just they're all commingled. Everybody's cool. So we went down to see her dad and stepmom and her brother, and we all went fishing. We took her dad fishing, went down to the trout stream, caught a rainbow trout in Minnesota, another state I've caught a trout in. Pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we did that, hung out with the family, which I actually really enjoyed. And then came back, and then Father's Day here was just kind of a chill thing. I generally work Saturday morning. So Saturday we'd gone down to the family thing. So I actually had to work Sunday morning a little bit, get caught up on some chores and stuff around here. And then we had some friends come over. They were celebrating Father's Day. We just had it was a Sunday Father's Day. We just moved up happy hour to like one in the afternoon, and hung out and had some good eats. And then we played a little family Catan that my son whooped us in. He's now old enough to be a threat on the game. And had dinner and hung out. And Friday night I couldn't believe it. I sat still for a whole movie, Joe. A whole movie. Oh, first time in probably a decade, I think.
Did you pick a good one or no?
Oh, the best. We watched Shawshank Redemption. Charlie had never seen it, and so we had to.
Well, that is great. That's great. Watching a movie with your son that you just absolutely love. What did he think of it?
I think he thought it was all right. He's a really avid reader. He's a very avid reader, and then when he gets grounded, he reads even more because he doesn't have his video games and everything else. So he had just emerged from a little grounding hibernation, video game hibernation. Yeah. And he had been reading, and like he burns through these books. He's reading a lot of Stephen King books, some Carl Hyacin books. And I mean, the pace with he gets through them is incredible.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah. So I told him that, and so he's reading this massive Stephen King book. And I told him I said, well, Stephen King wrote Shawshank Redemption, and he's like, oh, well, we should watch that. And I was like, all right, let's watch it. And I tried to tell him that outside of Mark Twain and a couple other books, the book that Shawshank Redemption was originally released in is called Different Seasons, and that has Shawshank Redemption. It has a story called The Body, which became Stand By Me. I believe it has Apt Pupil in it, and it has one other story. So there's 4 novellas, and I was like, that's the book you should read. And he was like, maybe we'll watch the movie. So we got the movie.
Leave it to Adam to, if he likes something, to know every little thing about it.
Okay.
That's just your way, man.
It is, man. It is. So, but I was thinking of but then I didn't want it to get too dark. I was thinking of in the new facility, putting up the "Get busy living" or "Get busy dying" quote. But then I didn't want people to think about the poor old dude that didn't get busy living. No spoilers there, but he doesn't. But then the other thing is,
it's been 30 years. So
right. Yeah. If that's a spoiler, my apologies. But then there's the other quote about, hope is a good thing, and a good thing never dies. And that's pretty cool too. So I liked that. So there was a little inspiring of, just living out a dream, figuring it out. I'm not exactly, I wouldn't call the Lonsdale car wash Sewataneo, but it's a pretty good dream that I'm chasing there,
Yes, definitely. Let me ask you this so that's a great little father and son type thing to do. Is because you have things that are very meaningful to you, and then you want to impart that. And sometimes, they're like, I don't care. I don't, whatever. So, but how about this? What about so this is my first snake question of the day. How
Okay.
So is there any like familial element to snakes? Like even if there's like you have a clutch, and is there any kind of protection for that? Is there any separation anxiety? You know how like some animals or creatures have some kind of connection to their offspring. Is there anything
Sure.
like that happens?
No, not with ball pythons. I can't
Okay.
speak to other species, and some people in here definitely work with many other species that may or may not. The only time that we really see that is when we take the eggs, and the mom will actually still sit in a coil because of her instincts. She'll still try and coil the eggs that aren't there. And what we actually do is give her a bath and then deep clean the whole enclosure to get all of those pheromones out of there.
Okay.
I was going to say in that way it would lessen stress because she's not like, where are my eggs?
Mm-hmm.
But it is a pretty, it probably is a pretty stressful day. She's just laid eggs. We take her off the eggs. We put her in a tub. We wash her. And then, put her in a new enclosure that smells nothing like what she's used to is probably pretty stressful. But the other reason we do that, their instincts are so strong to coil. They don't eat while they're protecting their eggs. So she thinks that she still should be protecting her eggs. They won't eat. And then it's a long, difficult recovery as well.
Okay.
So we get them that bath. We get them in a fresh enclosure. We get rid of all those pheromones and then get them fed within, ideally within a few days after they lay. We want to get them eating again.
Okay, I got you. Understood. Interesting.
Yeah. Jim asked a good question. I really don't know. I've never done a maternal incubation clutch. I don't like variables, as people know, and Jim knows me pretty well. So I've never tried that. I'm not sure what would be the relationship should they hatch on their own while mom is present. But I think they're largely on their own. And like some species, hognose, they rely absolutely on like mom forgetting. Moms will eat the eggs. They'll eat the babies. Like if mom doesn't get lost after they're laid, they don't procreate very well. She'll eat eat the dad. They eat the dad as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, hognose, it's weird because they're really hot pets, hognose snakes. But if you breed them, it's a whole different crazy world of like, you got to babysit them when they're paired together. You got to get the eggs immediately or the mom will eat the eggs.
Why that particular? Why that particular species? Not species. Why that particular kind?
Yeah, it's a species.
Species. Yeah.
I don't know. What do you mean? Why? Why does it do that?
Yeah. Why the hognose? Like why? It's just.
Oh, they come in a variety of colors. They got a lot of personality. They play dead. They're super dramatic. They're they don't get huge. They're a good pet size.
Okay.
But one hognose as a pet is a way different experiment or experience than a rack of hognoses that you're trying to breed. They
interesting. Yeah.
They're a little more challenging. So, do you ever see that show, Welcome to Wrexham?
Yeah, actually,
I only saw 2 episodes of the new season, so we got to tread lightly here. And I will give the same courtesy to anybody who hasn't seen the current season.
So I liked season 1. I loved season 2. Season 3 kind of fell off a little bit, so I'm kind of going through season 4 a little bit when I can. But I watched an old episode on Father's Day. And I think I'm just going to do that every Father's Day because it's about being about sports and what sports does to like like male relationships and stuff like that. And it has a
Yeah.
lot to do with like fathers and stuff like that. So I watch it and it kind of makes me tear up. You know,
well, and your
thinking
boy
about that. Yeah.
Your boy Rob is a Philly guy too. So yeah, that's true. So I was watching it last night, and for those that don't know, so Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, they buy this Welsh soccer team, and it actually is a small town, and really I think part of the running theme is their commitment to the town is the big deal. And that clicked with them. And that's what made them really great owners. And they've had incredible success. And I'll leave it there so it doesn't get any spoiled. But they did a little vignette last night on the first episode, I think, but maybe the second one, about this girl in town. And she says, well, whenever we go to college, everybody goes off to Manchester or Liverpool. And then if you want professional opportunities, you don't come back to Wrexham. And that was an experience that I had in North Carolina. We called it brain drain. You leave the county because there was no opportunity there.
Okay.
And then, you go to Charlotte or Atlanta, or you go up to school, and you don't come back to Lake Lure, to the mountains. And it causes this sort of stagnation in economy and downward trend over a long period of time. And this girl, she did come back with her family, and she started a mobile, basically a food truck version of a coffee barista thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she said, I can't believe that would ever be serving coffee in the I think it's called the race course, but whatever they call their stadium.
Yeah.
And it was like such a cool thing, because at the end of the day, I'm going to have to do something like that mindset with the car wash in Lonsdale. Yeah. I'm in this really tiny town of 4,938 people, because I drive by the sign every day. I'm trying to normalize breeding rodents and snakes in their town. I've got this car wash that is honestly kind of stagnated, and there's not really much professional opportunity in the town. So people leave. So it's this town of farmers and kids and families, but not much professional growth. And what's interesting is that I see 2 food trucks around town all the time. And the typical food truck model is a property owner like me would say, all right, you could pay a fee and you can squat on my property, and then we work it out and you rent the space and it's mutually beneficial and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I should get these food trucks in my parking lot at the car wash. A, it'll be good for business. B, more importantly, it'll build local relationships with these locals. And so like, I like the story of whether they're going to get promoted or not, and the games that they play and all of that. Yeah. But when I see how they highlight the local pub, the nice things that they do for it, they reached out to her to have her bring her coffee. She didn't even go begging them. They reached out to her. Yeah. And what's happening is I'm sort of finishing up the projects and the renovations. I start to move in, but the projects and the renovations that take all my time, sheetrocking, building walls, wiring, that's pretty much winding down. I got a few more of those to do, but in about 2 weeks, I'll mostly be moving, kind of moved in and done with the big project phase. And then the next phase is building that car wash business. And I'd wrestled a little bit with like, do I want to build the business, or do I want to try and find a renter that can just take it over and not deal with it? And I really do want to build the business. I think it's cool. It's right there. It's right in my hands. I've built way more difficult. I've built like such hard uphill battles before. And that was for other people. That wasn't even for my own brand. That was for companies and corporations I was working for. And I was like, what are you doing? You got it right here, man. Like, how cool could this be? And so and I started doing some research for who has the biggest social media presence? How do I reach out to them? How do I get them using the car wash? How do I interact with them? Because if they have a big reach and a big following in a small town, these are good people to build relationships with. Joe, there's nobody. Like, I'm not even that big on social media. My accounts are all bigger than anybody in like anything related to that.
Okay.
Yeah, to that town, which is fine, but I don't have anybody to like, I wouldn't say ride their coattails, but to latch on with and go get them.
Yeah.
So now,
Yeah.
like,
well, is there like a sense of the town, or is it just like someplace where people live? You know, is there an actual town that like people, oh, we're from Lonsdale and there's an identity here or something like that? Or is that something that you build, that you have to build?
No, I think it's there a little bit, but I don't know it. And that's what I have to get like into. And I've kept a low profile because what I don't want, I want to be at the point where if people are like, ooh, you're the snake guy, I can go, yeah, come take a look. And when they walk in and they go, holy wow, this is amazing. It hasn't been there yet. It's just been a construction site up until now.
Right.
So I'm very close to being able to go, yeah, I am. I'd love to show you around. It's something I'm very, very proud of, and I'm very excited to be a part. And I'm so thankful that Lonsdale City, the town permitted the use here for this. Come take a look. That's where I want to get to versus, in 6 months, there'll be snakes in here and I'll talk to you then. That just foments the wrong, mentality. So I've kept a very, very low profile. Now I want to, or I say now, within 2 weeks to 30 days, I want to join the Chamber of Commerce. I need to go to those meetings. I need to.
There's a Chamber of Commerce in Lonsdale.
There is, yeah.
And
the town has a Facebook page. I want to start posting on there. I need to start getting the Instagram account going. Lucy comes to work with me every day now. Somebody meets me. How you going to hate me? I got a Jack Russell puppy. She's going to, you know what I mean? So I got to get a new paint job and new signage. It's still just the old sort of dilapidated paint and signs that are there. So it's time to start investing that money and that time. And I need to get all that sort of coordinated because the last thing I want to do is make a big splash and then people come by and they're like, this is just the same old place, except you haven't done anything. So it's even, tireder.
Well, that's going to be difficult to do because you've created a snake shop in the place. So it's going to be very different.
But it doesn't, there's no, and there never will be. There's just going to be a sign on the door that says private, but there's not a big, like, it's not like I painted a Python mural on the side of it, and which I did think about doing. I think that would be cool, but I'm not going to do that. Like I want to live within, not figuratively, I want to live within the town and within the sort of the community there. But
this food truck idea is pretty. That's a pretty good angle. And are the food trucks known around town as places to go?
I see them, and this is literally one of those you hear about a one stoplight town. This is a one stoplight town, so there's not a whole lot of places for the food truck to hide. But I see it all the time. I'm like, they must be. They're either A, successful, or B, committed to being successful. Because I see, like I say, I see them all the time. So,
what kind of food?
I guess I don't look that closely. Yeah, I think it's Mexican food, but I'm not 100% sure. So I want to do that. Then, to Justin's point about advertising, there's like all these small towns in Minnesota have like their own summer festivals on given weekends. So there's like small town Lonsdale concert series and that kind of stuff. I'd love to get, advertising on that. I got to find a local like soccer team or whatever and get them their jerseys, and like, I really do want to get like into that community and just show like we can, there's good stuff here and we can have a good time,
Okay, let's think about this for a second. So you have so let's say you do you want to advertise what? The car wash.
The car wash, yeah. The other business is going fine. And
Hometown Shine. Yeah.
Hometown Shine, yeah. That's that.
So if you get if you get like a baseball team, if you sponsor a baseball team or something like that,
right?
I mean, what would be the mascot
Of Hometown Shine or the
yeah
local team?
I mean, of Hometown Shine.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's going to be Lucy, the Jack
Oh,
Russell, the
okay.
Jack Russells.
Okay.
Yeah, the fighting
All
Jack
right.
Russells. That's what we would have to be, you know.
Lucy, so not like the or Hometown Shine pythons.
No, I gotta ease into that. You know, I want the
You gotta
town.
ease
I
into
want to.
that.
I
I
want
got
people.
you.
I want people to maybe much like you, Joe. We knew each other for a long time. You knew I was a good guy. You're like, all right, I'll see what he's got going on with these
Yeah.
pythons. You know what I mean? Versus,
Okay. Yeah.
hey, nice to meet you, Joe. I got 200. You want to see him?
You don't want to introduce yourself as the python.
Right. I got a lot of,
Yeah.
I got to ease them in, and not because it changes who I am, but just because of the general perception of it. You know, you gotta have a, maybe we go for coffee first before never mind. We'll just let it be. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. And that's right on the horizon.
Great
so
idea.
I got to get new. I mean, I'll go from one project to another, but yeah, there's going to be fresh coat of paint. And then I don't know, like I got to talk to the town. I have a really big parking lot. Like I could have, it sounds really dumb, but I could have like local bands play there. I could have, if there's a local brewery that has,
you have, yeah,
you know what I
that
mean?
would be really great. Like,
yeah,
if you had like the Lonsdale Festival or something. Do they have something like that or something?
No, they do, but and I don't have that big of a parking lot, but I got a little lawn on the side. Like if there was a brewery that, like, have you seen the breweries that have like the mobile, like the tap thing? Like
Sure. Yeah.
You get the temporary permit, you put on a little music, pour a little beer, check out, maybe it's a fundraiser for said softball, baseball team. Like you're going to get the boys are going to wash your car. The girls are going to wash your car. Not the awkward bikini crap. We're not going to do that. I'm going to ask the kids to do that. But some sort of just all that community building stuff would be a blast. And
wouldn't that be great? I think that like keep thinking like this, like events like that. Very good. I think that's good. But if I knew that I was like, I need to get my truck washed from all the work that I do with the truck. And if I could get a delicious bite while I'm getting when I go and do my car wash, that would be the place I would go. And it would be like, it would start to become like a hub. That I would definitely do that. Well, amazing.
And I'd love to get the food truck there where I don't even charge the food truck rent. I just want a way to meet and interact with people and to bring them there, because honestly, across the street is the funeral home. So that's, it's really bad to say, but when there's a funeral, I get pretty busy, but I don't want that to be like, all right, I'll see you at the funeral. We can't do that. That's not going to be good. So
who's passed away? We're going to have a big Tuesday.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We got a hopping Wednesday coming up, boys. And by boys, I mean, Adam. But yeah, I mean, if it were beneficial to the food truck to say, hey, you don't have to pay me rent. I don't need a percentage, nothing. Just be here and I'll advertise that you're going to be here, and you advertise that this is where people can come see you. And that's what I want.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that like around here, there's like gas stations, right, that have like almost permanent food trucks.
Right.
And probably mostly permanent, because that's where the food truck makes their most of their money.
Yeah, it's the same model. That gas station owner's probably like, yeah, don't pay me rent. I just need people in this parking lot coming in.
Right, exactly. So interesting. This is a good idea. I'm excited about this. I like this. So what's your first move? Like, how you got to track down those food trucks, right?
I got to talk to the food trucks, but like I say, I have to have it ready as well. So I have the signs designed, but I have to get them ordered, and then I have to install them, which is no small project to begin with. And then at the very least on the facade, I've got to get a new fresh coat of paint put on there, which is also, it's a big building. I mean, it's a concrete building with, the facade is 12 feet high. So it's not just like, all right, let me get a couple buckets and let's get to this, so that's going to take a little bit. There's still some operational things that I have to figure out and understand with it. And then also at the same time, I've got to start building the social media part of it, because on the signs, I want to have follow us on Instagram. I don't think I'm going to start a YouTube channel, but Instagram, Facebook interaction. So I'll have that on there. And then, then I'll just get to it. But one of the other things I thought of too, like I thought of posting on like the Town of Lawnsville page, like, hey, I want to support local young entrepreneurs. Who's high school or college age kid is doing landscaping or snow removal, and so I can hire them to cut the lawn and be the snow removal guy and all of that in a way that I'm really, like I say, specifically, purposely supporting that local community.
Okay. All right. Interesting. We I mean, there's a lot of support for these these ideas, lots of good ideas. AI to fill in the gaps.
Huh. Yeah, I'm a big fan of so I love using it for everybody out there. AI as a tool is fantastic. AI as a way to not do the work is not going to work for you, in my opinion. So I love AI as a tool. And so what I do, Wally, is like, I'll actually run this whole idea. Like today, I'll probably make a transcript of the show, which those of y'all that don't know, if you ever go to the description and you click more on any video, at the very, very bottom, it'll say show transcript. You can copy and paste that right into ChatGPT and ask it to analyze whatever you want. So I'll take the transcript. I'll say, look at these ideas that we talked about for the car wash. What am I missing? What am I not thinking of? And it'll pop out 15 ideas, and half of them might be garbage, but the idea is not for me. And while I'm sure you get this because you're using it, but as an exercise for the whole audience, it's not even necessarily for AI to give me the answer. It's for it to keep my mind going and go, oh, that fits my brand. That fits what I want to do. Or that's not there, but this is, I could do that right there. And it was like that aha moment when I was watching Wrexham. Here's this girl that has these dreams of making the small town her home because she loves it, and carving out her own opportunity as a young entrepreneur.
Yeah. I often wonder about that town, and this has relevance with what you're trying to do too. I wonder about that town and how different it is now than it was 5 years ago. And if it's losing some of its like hometown feel with all of this growth. And so I wonder, like, I mean, that's something to think about, and I mean, not that you're gonna
never know
a whole bunch, like a huge economy and
right
Lonsdale, but I mean, it's something like, I think there's a little town that's close by to me called San Antonio, Florida.
Yeah.
And the town just seemed like it did not want to grow. Like there were ideas to put in there. There's a few cool buildings there. The town seemed to be averse to change. And I think a lot of people are averse to change, especially in a small town like that. They like how it is. It's why they are there. So it's funny. I think about like the resistance to that growth sometimes and how that changes what a town is.
It does. And it's, in some ways it can be unfortunate, using Wrexham as the example, or even like coal mining towns in West Virginia. They touched on it in one of the episodes. They're not going to go back to a mining town. Those days are gone. People are leaving. So one of the themes in the show is what is it? Unite the town to save the town. And uniting the town is getting behind Wrexham. I think in the case of Lonsdale, I'm a little bit more pragmatic about it because I'm not bringing a football team there. It's right now on some of the farthest, that would be FAR instead of FUR, farthest outskirts of suburbia for commuters to the cities.
Okay.
But as we know, I'm not advocating good or bad for this. As we know, as urban sprawl happens and areas grow, it's 13 miles south of the Beltway, so to speak, and it's directly opposite the highway of the town that I live in, which has about 22,000 people and still feels like a tiny town. I think Lonsdale, it's literally mirror image. I'm 6 miles one direction from the highway. It's 6 miles the other direction. It's 12 miles door to door for me. I think Lonsdale offers, case in point for me, that's where I was able to buy. It offers affordable opportunity with still quick access to the cities. It will grow whether they want it to or not. The metro area is a massive area. It's similar to Tampa. I mean, think how far north you guys live and what, 15 years ago, what Land O'Lakes was.
Completely
it was
different.
Yeah, it's nothing. Or it was nothing. And it's this beautiful opportunity now. And I think that will start to happen in Lonsdale. And I think that, honestly, when I talked to the town planner and made purposely made very clear that I was going to be welcomed in that town, was, hey, the guy said, yeah, we are growing, and we're close to the interstate. It's a straight shot to the cities. And look, just one exit north of here, what's happened, just another exit north of here, how much that's boomed. That stuff is going to happen whether we want it to or not. We're committed to welcoming that and growing this community. So
we'll see. And the connections that you've made in Lonsdale come from where? Like, how did you? I guess there's like a council and the chamber and all of that, or how did you make those connections first? Who are you talking to about that?
The city planner. There's in towns, and there's always local municipality ordinances. And what I didn't want to do was spend literally my life savings on. Did you hear my voice crack when I said that? Literally, my life savings of assets to buy this car wash, and only to find out that I was going to be met with headwinds, resistance, or flat out being told I couldn't do that. So I would rather have been told no up front and gone to hell with it than buy it and then find out afterwards. So I went to the town planner. I just said that they have things called permitted use. If something is zoned commercial, you then have to get be allowed to operate what you want to operate in there. And those are outlined in the individual city ordinances. So I went through that. Then the other relationships that I found, I used the local bank. There's actually a Lonsdale based bank, small town bank. And that's what I use. And when I'm like, hey, who's good drywall people in here? They're like, oh, well, there's Bob and there's Frank, and here's his numbers, and give him a call. And that's what we do. And it turns out the drywall guy is also a hog farmer. Like, it does have that small town, like everybody knows everybody feel. There was a day I was in the hardware store just before I headed off to Tinley, and the guy said, hope you have a good trip. Heard you'll be out of town. And I was like, what? Turns out he's friends with the brother of the former owner, and the former owner was going to come help me with the thing. And I told him I'd be out of town. Now the people at the hardware store know I'm not going to be. And I was like,
wow.
Okay. All right.
Now that's a depiction of a small town. Yeah, that I see that. I see what you're saying now. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's small.
Yeah. Well, but that means there's even more heightened pressure to be a good neighbor, to be a good citizen, to add to the town. I want those people at the hardware store. I purposefully use them. They're a little bit more expensive, but I use them purposefully so that I was buying and supporting and building relationships in a small town. And they were actually really helpful. Like, one of these days, I'm just going to pop in and cater like the barbecue joint lunch for the hardware store. As a thank you kind of deal. Yeah.
That's really nice. Yeah.
Hey, you guys helped me out, and their delivery was great. They always unloaded everything right into the work site. Show up with barbecue for 8 people from the barbecue joint in town.
Yeah. Right. Wow. I mean, this is very thoughtful. You're a very thoughtful business person. That's great. Yeah, you got some great ideas. I mean, you don't need any help from us or
Yes, I do, man. This is a grind. Like it's fun here, and the ring light and the Palm Street banner and the Proper 11 at Cold Blooded Cafe and
yeah,
the Husbandry Pro, and then if you needed your TSK Xanthic friends at Sundog Serpents, that's all easy here. But daily walking in and going, oh look, somebody destroyed my car wash again. Let me clean this place top to bottom for my $1.50 that they gave me. It can be a grind, you know?
Yeah. And actually, so I'm thinking about that, well, how do you know about me? Like that feeling of a small town. And I wonder, I don't know. I think this is maybe just off topic, but there's something about the anonymity that I really like. Like I I don't know. That would like that would make me feel uncomfortable actually.
Right. And it does make me feel uncomfortable. What people sometimes don't realize is how like insanely private I prefer to be. And I feel bad because people just like show up at the shop and I'm like, you can't just show up uninvited, man. Like you gotta make an appointment, and I'll take care of you and I'll take good care of you. But in a commercial retail setting, you almost have to embrace that. Like somebody's got to be the face of the business. Somebody's got to be the welcoming person that cares. And I'm like I say, some of exactly what you're talking about is the mindset that I have to change. And I've been purposefully quiet because when people inevitably are going to go, I don't know about this. And you go, well, come have a tour, come check it out. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so close. I can almost say that now. And that's going to be an exciting new time and new era for me there in that town.
Yeah. Like even this, doing this like every Thursday morning is like, I don't know. Do I really want, like, I'm embarking on exploring other opportunities besides the accounting firm that I work at right now. I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm like, yeah, this was a good experience. But maybe I love teaching, so maybe there's ways that I can jump into that a little bit more, or maybe I should utilize this network. If anybody has any any opportunities that are available that you think that I would be that I might excel in, just please let me know. But I also go like, oh, as I start, maybe I apply to a job or something, and I go, well, they're going to do a search of me on the internet.
Right.
Will I become like, I don't know about this snake podcast guy,
right? Yeah.
I kind of worry about like that anonymity or the lack of anonymity, not that might come from doing this show, and I like, it makes me go, I don't know if I want people to know everything about me.
Do you need to go underground for a little while?
You have to take all of these shows down while I go and look for the next opportunity.
No. We'll just do a big show where I do a performance review. You get fired and you're done, and you disappear until you get a new job.
Right. That's funny. I mean, but
we could start calling you Maurice. It'd be Proper Cup of Mo, and it'd be wink wink.
No, actually I'm very proud of this show. I'm very proud of this show, and
that's my brother Maurice.
I'm proud to be a part of this too, because I think it's, we're very similar looking people, right?
Right.
But we're very different in certain ways too. And one of the main differences is that you have snakes and I don't. But that's not going to prevent me from exploring this. It's not going to, it makes me curious. And that's who I am.
Right.
I love being curious. I love asking questions. I love getting to know people who are different from me. So I'm super proud of this show. That's where like, when I really think about it, that's where I come down. There's no shame in my game being a part of this at all. and I don't want to put that out there either.
No, I think first off, thank you. And I think our show is unique in many ways, but because of that, but I also think, if it ever were to come up, or even you could preempt it coming up, I think it'd be a great, I don't know. I was going to say resume builder, but I don't even mean from a resume standpoint, from a character reference. Like, you're who you are, and you show it on the show, and you could say to people, well, yeah, if you want to get to know me, these are the aspects of what I'm interested in and who I am. And sure, go watch a few episodes, see what it's about.
Yeah. Right.
But that's what I want to be able to say about my shop and about what's there. And I can't leave weird imagination in their mind to fester. So I want it to be, no, this is it. It's clean, it's restaurant, it's hospital-like quality, caliber of care and cleanliness. Come on in. It's state of the art. And that's what, versus some dungeon of snakes that they're imagining,
Right. Yeah. It's not, that is the right approach. Maybe it's not the introduction, as you say, but it is, it's nothing to hide. It's nothing to hide. Yeah.
Guys, I brushed over it really quickly, but do me a favor, check out Sundog Serpents. They are based out of Orlando. If nothing else, just go check out their Instagram. The super asphalt combos that they just fired off were fantastic. They do have TSK, Axanthic, and Clown ingredients and projects. TSK, Axanthic, Clown, like one project ingredients available on their Morph Market as well. That's Sarah and Josh. They're great people. Also, there's some codes down there going to save you some money. Cold-Blooded Cafe, that code does not expire anymore. That is now all orders over $200. You're always going to get free shipping. And how are you going to lose track of all your data and everything? Go check out Husbandry Pro. You can track everything in there. Pairings I got going right now, feedings, generational data, so that you're not flipping through decades of notepads kind of deal, and you can transfer all the information directly to your customers. Joe, what you got going on this week, man?
There's a lot of grading that I need to do this week.
Okay. All right. That's your dream. Go. Yeah. Embrace it. Live it up, man. Live it up. We're under 1 month until you'll be here in Minnesota hanging out, man.
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. We'll have a good time, man.
Great. How about you? What do you got coming up this weekend?
Those that have followed me a long time know that I take a lot of pride in, I don't have many flexes, but one of my flexes is my sink. It's a massive sink. It's at least 8 feet long, 3 feet wide, 2 basins, 2 drying racks on it. The sink is going into the new facility on Tuesday. We moved the sink from here to there, and that means that the full move-in is imminent. Once the sink goes, it's on from there. That's like right. It's like the tick 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 when you're going up a roller coaster, and then that quiet moment, that's the sink moving.
That's the sink. Okay.
Because we're on after that.
So you're going to be all moved in by the time I get up there, right?
Not all moved in to get like really deep in the weeds on the logistics. I'm not moving the breeding females, and that means I'm not moving the breeder males that are still breeding with them. So females that have laid, holdbacks, and hatchlings will all be moved over. The breeding operation will still be here. As they lay, then I'll move them. I'm not going to move. I'm not going to disrupt the breeding season with a move. For the ones that are still in process. So there'll be, for a little while, there'll be a split operation between the two facilities, which is kind of a nightmare, but it's got to happen.
All right. Great. I can't wait to see it. It'll be fun.
It is going to be fun.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for always making this a great time on Thursday mornings. And everybody stay safe, stay cool, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.